Grace and peace to you. Welcome to Sabbath School Study Group, where we are in the fourth part of a 5-part series on worshiping the Creator, the call of the first angel's message in Revelation 14. And today, we're talking about the Creator. We're talking about worshiping the one who made the heavens and earth. Why the idea of understanding and believing in creation through a Creator is absolutely essential to the idea of believing in redemption through a Redeemer. So let's talk about Revelation 14:6, which is our focus verse for the week, where it reads, I saw another angel fly in the midst of heaven, having the everlasting gospel to preach unto them that dwell on the earth, and to every nation and kindred and tongue and people. This is good news, because when we understand that this message is not just important because of what the message is, but it's important because of who the message is coming from. And it's coming from our Creator. God is the Creator. It's in Him that everything began, and it's in Him that only we can be found again. Because Revelation 14:7 goes on to say, this angel sang with a loud voice, fear God and give glory to Him, for the hour of His judgment is come, and worship. But why? Why fear God? Why give glory? Because He's the one that made heaven and earth and the sea and the fountains of waters. See, the idea of worshiping Him as Creator is what's the source or the grounding for our worshiping Him as our Redeemer. Because if I don't understand that it is He that has began, or it's He that started me, I'm left open and I'm wide open to any and everything that might look like a possible fix. But when I know that I can go back to the manufacturer, who not only understands my function, not only understands my design, but who embraces or understands my purpose, this is why salvation can only come through Him, because He is the one who made us in the first place. See, the way it's said here by the prophet in Isaiah 45, thus saith the Lord, the Holy One of Israel and His Maker. Israel being those who wrestled and overcame. Remember, these are the sons of Jacob. Jacob was the one who wrestled and overcame. This is because of the work of God. Just like He created Jacob and saved him and turned him into Israel, He's the one who made you and can save you into something else, save you into someone else. Ask me of things concerning my sons and concerning the work of my hands. Command ye me. I have made the earth and created man upon it. I, even my hands, have stretched out the heavens, and all their host have I commanded. So when we think about the commandments of God, it's like the commandments squared in a sense. The commanding of God did not begin in Exodus 20. The commanding of God began in Genesis 1, when God said, let there be light. And when we recognize that the commands of Exodus 20 are echoes from the Creator, that same Creator now reaches down through the time of our sins, even into the New Testament. And when the angels come, they say, we bring you good tidings of great joy. These are tidings from the same one who said, let there be light. The same one who said, thou shalt not, is now the same one coming saying, you shall live through Jesus Christ. When you recognize it's the same voice, the same origin, now you're able to believe, oh, if it's the same voice, then that means it's now the same power that's working in my life. Because Jeremiah 10 says, thus shall you say unto them, the gods that have not made the heavens and the earth, even they shall perish from the earth, and from under these heavens He hath made the earth by His power. He hath established the world by His wisdom, and hath stretched out the heavens by His discretion. Why is this awesome? This is awesome because the same power that made me is the same power that saves me. It's the same power that started me. That's the same power that stays me. The same power that found me is the same power that fixes me. Jesus as Lord is Lord not just of creation, He is now Lord of redemption. And when I recognize that if He can make this whole world, how can He not make something out of my life? If the Lord can speak into the nothingness of nothing and say, let there be, and here we are. That's why He can speak into the mess of the situation that you're in and make it a message. This is why you know and I know that if He made this, if He started the race, he can finish it. When I recognize this, it's easy to recognize that this worship is to worship the Creator. But be careful, y'all, because to not worship the Creator is to worship the beast. Remember, if we don't find our finding in the manufacturer, we're susceptible to all kinds of labels being put on us. And we can just say, well, this is what you should be. That's what I think you should do. Well, no, you should do this because you're separated from your design and purpose. This is what happens in Revelation. Those who don't receive him as the Creator, the third angel follows them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast in his image and receive his mark or in his forehead or in his hand, this is coming not just to those who just arbitrarily say, I want to worship the beast. The beast is great. He's awesome. He's amazing. No, this is what's left to those who have not received the first angel's message to worship God. They are then left to only worship the beast. When we recognize that he that is not with me is against me, Jesus says, he that gathereth not with me scattereth abroad. You don't have to take on the mantle of a scatterer to be a scatterer. You become a scatterer just by not being a gatherer. We go against Christ just by not accepting him. And we end up going with the beast. We end up going for the world. He says it again. He that's not with me is against me. He that gathereth not with me scattereth. There's only two sides to a coin. There is no middle ground. And we decide by virtue not just of what we decide to do, but we decide by virtue of what we decide not to do. So to not recognize and acknowledge him as Creator is to then take him on as enemy. So we end up in a mess where these pillows and these feathers that were designed to be gathered together to create a place of rest, these pillows, instead of resting in the pillow of grace and the pillow of the love of God, you now are scattering them. And in a pillow fight, these feathers are everywhere. And they become a nightmare to try and clean up. And you don't even attempt to clean them up because it's impossible to put them all back together again. And so, friends, let's not then do the inverse, where Jesus is able to take our mess and make it a message. Let's be careful lest we take the message and make it a mess by not accepting the message as it is in Christ. Knowing that we have this warning, let's look at the good news. And that is, to worship is to live, and to live is to love. See, there's a combination, there's a synergy between worship and living and loving. We try to separate the two when we're doing it on our own. But when you're in love, you live it. And when you're in love, you worshiping. And all together, we see, like he says in Proverbs 8, I love them that love me. And those that seek me early shall find me. See, the love relationship, the love aspect of worshiping the Creator. I know where I've come from, and I know I fell astray, but now I'm back home like the prodigal son. I love them that love me. And what does God perceive as our love for him? Seeking him, longing for him, being led of him. And that leads us now to live out, because we're in a constant state of following him. That's why Jesus says in John 14, he that hath my commandments and keepeth them, he it is that loveth me. It paints this relationship between love and obedience. You can't separate the two. He that loveth me shall be loved of my Father, and I will love him and will manifest myself to him. Now that last part is powerful, because the manifesting of God to us through Jesus, it's special because all of us know of God. Everyone has an awareness of God. Even an atheist denies the existence of God, recognizes you have to deny the existence of God. Therefore, God must exist. Not to get philosophical, but just think about it. So now, when you're thinking about knowing God versus loving God, it's something more intimate. Knowing God, or those who just are aware of him and haven't had this presence manifested to him, it's like getting a card or giving a letter or getting a gift from a secret admirer. And when you don't know who that person is, there's some mystery, there's some intrigue, but there's an incompletion in the affection because you're just wondering, who is it? Who is it? Who is it? And you get to the point now where if they're constantly sending you this stuff, but you don't know who they are, you actually long to know the person more than the stuff. And so what happens when we accept Jesus Christ, when we keep his commandments, that's where we enter into a manifestation of himself to us. And there's an intimacy now that comes, a connection, because I not only know the gift, but I know the giver. And this is what Jesus has promised to those who obey him. And this is why obedience is so vital, but also so beautiful, because that's when Christ starts to manifest himself to him. And I have both the gift and the giver. And not only this, I will not let go of the gift because I know who gave it to me. See, it uses this scenario in Song of Solomon. It says, the watchmen that go about the city found me, to whom I said, saw ye him whom my soul loveth? In Song of Solomon, there's an interplay between a woman and a man. And the woman in this story in Song of Solomon is a symbol of the bride of Revelation. And that bride in Revelation is the church of Christ. But then the groom, the lover of the woman or of the bride is Christ. So in effect, when you're reading verse 4, it was but a little that I passed from them. I found him of whom my soul loveth. This is the church, the people of God saying, I found him whom my soul loveth. I held him and would not let him go. When I found out who was giving me the gifts, I cared more about him than the gifts. The gifts were wooing me. They were bringing me to him until I had brought him into my mother's house and into the chamber of her that conceived me. I charge you, O daughters of Jerusalem, by the rose and by the hinds field, that you stir not up nor awake my love till he please. Don't do anything to disrupt the peace, the intimacy of the connection that I have with Jesus. That's the difference between knowing of God and knowing him. Having a thought of who he is and having a relationship in who he is. This is what Jesus wants us to experience so that he might manifest himself to him, like a clothespin to a wire. And that you can rock that wire and you can turn it around and you can shake it. But when that pin is set, it's perfectly niched around that wire. You notice the hole in the clip is just the size of the wire. That is a union that we have, that no matter where we go, no matter what happens, we don't let go. And I will not let go, not so that he will bless me. I will not let him go because of how he's blessed me. And the greatest blessing of a relationship with Christ is Christ. This is the promise that we have. And this is the message that we understand and believe when we understand him not as our creator, but as our redeemer. So, Revelation 14:6, I saw another angel fly in the midst of heaven, having the everlasting gospel to preach unto them that dwell on the earth, and to every nation and kindred and tongue and people, friends of ours, friends of mine, my brothers, my sisters. This is a love that will not let you go. All he's asking you to do is to receive it. If you were blessed by this video, praise Jesus. And be sure to like, share, and subscribe. There is much more to see and learn on our website at CHANGEministry.org. If you feel impressed, we would really appreciate any gift that you can give towards our work. Just click the Donate tab on the page, and your support will help us grow as you grow.